Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today. We're going to explore how we can transform Microsoft Teams notifications for better productivity. The title of our presentation is Transforming Microsoft Teams Notifications for Enhanced Productivity, with a focus on moving from static alerts to interactive workflows using adaptive cards and smart automation. Over the next few slides, we'll see how these tools can make your notifications more dynamic and actionable, helping you work smarter and more efficiently. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the problem with the default Teams notifications. First, the inefficiency of these notifications really hurts collaboration. When messages are missed or ignored, it becomes much harder for teams to work effectively and stay on the same page. Next, there's the issue of important messages being overlooked. When engagement drops, critical information doesn't get the attention it deserves, which can undermine the entire communication process within a team. We also see a lot of spammy, non-actionable alerts. These notifications often just remind users of things that don't require any action, leading people to quickly mark them as read without actually engaging with the content. And finally, the notifications themselves tend to be static and outdated, kind of like a noisy school PA system. They don't provide an interactive or dynamic experience, which means users miss out on timely, relevant information that could help them stay productive. All of these issues highlight why we need to transform how notifications work in Teams to truly enhance productivity and collaboration. Let's talk about why notifications often fail. The core issue here is what I like to call the digital noise effect. When there's too much irrelevant information flooding our screens, it actually makes us less likely to respond or engage. We get overwhelmed by the constant barrage of alerts that don't really matter, and as a result, our response rates drop. This has a direct impact on engagement. Important requests or messages can get lost among all the noise. Think about those lunch and learns or surveys that pop up constantly. They end up buried, and that makes it hard for us to spot what truly needs our attention and to prioritize accordingly. Now, picture static notifications as noise that just sits in the background, like standing between a jackhammer and a jet engine. It's overwhelming, right? And that kind of constant background noise causes us to dismiss messages almost reflexively, because it's just too much to filter through. So the main takeaway here is that this noise problem is a real barrier to effective communication. If we want to improve how notifications work, we need to find ways to cut through that chaos and make meaningful messages stand out. Let's take a closer look at how poor notifications can really impact our workflows. When notifications are not actionable, managers often find themselves having to chase people in chat to get things done. This leads to a lot of follow-up emails, escalations, and manual tracking, which can waste a significant amount of time and energy. This issue creates what we call managerial challenges. Non-actionable alerts break down the handoff process between team members, causing confusion and miscommunication. When alerts don't clearly indicate what needs to be done, team members can easily get lost or delayed. Over time, this also results in overdue tasks because alerts don't prompt timely action. Bottlenecks form, and project timelines start to slip, which affects overall productivity. And let's not forget missed approvals. When alerts aren't clear or actionable, approvals get delayed, which in turn hampers decision-making and further disrupts the workflow. So the core message here is that ineffective notifications can really undermine our efficiency, which is why transforming how we handle notifications is so crucial for improving productivity across the board. Now, let's talk about adaptive cards and how they can really transform our notifications in Microsoft Teams. Instead of notifications just being distractions or interruptions, adaptive cards turn them into useful, interactive tools. They help boost our productivity by allowing us to perform actions directly within the notification itself. For example, instead of switching to another app to approve a request or update a task, we can do it right here, instantly, seamlessly. This shift from noise to workflow tools means our conversations stay fluid, and our tasks become more efficient. Think of adaptive cards as turning static alerts into mini-apps within Teams, buttons, fields, and all, so we can manage our work without leaving the chat. This makes our notifications not just informative, but actively actionable, helping us stay focused and organized. Let's take a closer look at the role of Microsoft Lists as the foundation for our notifications. Microsoft Lists are really the essential backbone that supports adaptive cards. They ensure that notifications are not just eye-catching, but also actionable and meaningful. Think of lists as the structured data that powers these cards, making sure they display the right information in a clear and effective way. Without well-maintained lists, even the most beautifully designed cards can fall flat. They might look good, but they end up being ineffective or just cluttered digital wallpaper. That's why maintaining clean and consistent lists is so important. It helps keep our notifications clear, prevents confusion, and ultimately boosts their effectiveness. So, in essence, Microsoft Lists are the critical foundation. They provide the structured data backbone that allows adaptive cards to deliver clear, actionable, and impactful notifications. When lists are well organized, everything else falls into place, making our communication more efficient and our workflows more seamless. Let's talk about some common data issues we encounter in Microsoft Lists and how they impact our productivity. First, inconsistent data entries can really hinder the effectiveness of our automated processes. When the data isn't standardized, automation tools struggle to interpret and act on it correctly, which can lead to delays or errors. For example, status fields often contain mixed terms like in progress, IP, or even working-ish. This variability causes misunderstandings and disrupts workflow clarity, making it harder to track progress accurately. Consistency in status updates is key to keeping everyone on the same page. Another issue is with owner columns. Sometimes they're filled with nicknames or vague instructions like Ask John, which creates confusion about who's responsible for what. This makes it challenging to identify responsible parties quickly, especially when managing multiple tasks. Lastly, unstructured or inconsistent data in lists can cause the entire system to malfunction, especially with cards not displaying or automations breaking down. These inconsistencies confuse users and break the automation flow, ultimately reducing efficiency. So, addressing these data issues is crucial to transforming our notifications and processes for better productivity. Now, let's look at how we can build structured lists for our adaptive cards to really boost productivity within Microsoft Teams. Structured lists, along with interactive elements, are key to creating a better user experience. They make managing tasks much more intuitive and efficient because users can quickly see what needs to be done without any confusion. One of the most important aspects is user engagement. By including buttons like Mark Done or Snooze directly on the cards, we give users simple, immediate options to manage their tasks. This not only encourages more interaction, but also streamlines the entire process, saving time and reducing frustration. When we incorporate interactive buttons, we're making the cards more functional. They enable the display of specific tasks, deadlines, and ownership details, so users don't have to guess or hunt for information. It's all right there, clear and straightforward, which improves overall clarity and decision-making. To make this even more effective, we design lists with clear, consistent columns, like task name, due date, owner, and reminder flag. This structured approach ensures that data is presented in a way that's easy to understand at a glance. It's about creating a visual hierarchy that guides the user naturally through the information. In summary, by combining structured lists, interactive elements, and clear column design, we enhance task visibility, boost engagement, and ultimately help teams work more smoothly within Microsoft Teams. This approach aligns perfectly with our goal to make collaboration more efficient and user-friendly. Let's talk about some tips for choosing effective column types to make your Microsoft Teams notifications more impactful. First, it's best to avoid free text fields, especially for critical data. Why? Because free text can lead to confusion or errors, and it makes automation less reliable. Clear, structured data is always better for maintaining clarity and ensuring your workflows run smoothly. Next, use recognizable owner information with person columns. When you display names and avatars, it becomes much easier to identify who is responsible or involved. This visual clarity is key to quick understanding and effective collaboration. Now, for date and time columns, precision really matters. These allow you to set exact reminder triggers, helping you stay on top of deadlines and appointments. Accurate timing ensures your tasks are managed promptly and efficiently. Finally, think strategically about choice columns. Offering predefined options creates predictable, consistent choices for your users. Plus, these options translate well into card buttons, making interactions more intuitive and streamlined. So, by selecting the right column types, you're not only improving data quality, but also enhancing automation, clarity, and user experience across your teams. Now, let's talk about avoiding the pitfall of freeform notes. When we use actual column types for each piece of data, we ensure that our cards render with clean, clickable controls. This makes our workflows much clearer and more efficient because users can interact with the data directly. The problem with large freeform notes columns is that they tend to create clutter and confusion. Instead of producing actionable elements, these notes often turn into text blobs that are hard to interpret and manage. This leads to inefficiencies and makes it more difficult to keep our workflows streamlined and under control. So the key takeaway here is that structured data is the solution. By using specific column types, we keep our notifications organized and our workflows flowing smoothly. This approach not only enhances productivity, but also helps everyone stay on the same page. Now, let's talk about the Adaptive Card Designer, which is a really helpful tool in our process. It's a no-risk sandbox that allows you to simply drag and drop elements to build your card. This means you can easily test different layouts and see exactly how your card will look before finalizing it. One of the best parts is that you can preview your card as it will appear in Teams, so there's no guesswork involved. This saves you from the hassle of fiddling with raw JSON code, which can be quite complex and error-prone. Instead, you get to focus on creating clean, user-friendly cards without needing any coding skills. Overall, this tool makes designing adaptive cards much easier and more intuitive. It aligns perfectly with our goal of transforming notifications into more effective, engaging, and productivity-enhancing communications within Microsoft Teams. When it comes to transforming Microsoft Teams notifications, simplicity is key to boosting user engagement. By making straightforward, decisive choices, users are more likely to interact and respond quickly. This not only encourages engagement, but also helps speed up their decision-making process. Now, why is this important? Well, offering multiple options can often lead to confusion or even inaction. If users are overwhelmed with choices, they might hesitate or ignore the notification altogether. That's why keeping our options simple is so crucial, helping users make decisions swiftly and confidently. Another point to remember is limiting card actions to just one or two clear buttons, like approve or snooze. Too many options can be overwhelming, so focusing on a couple of clear actions ensures users aren't bombarded and can easily decide what to do next. And finally, when designing these adaptive cards, keeping them lean and actionable is essential. A clean, focused design helps users quickly understand what's needed and act accordingly. All these elements together create a more effective notification experience, simpler, faster, and more engaging for everyone. Let's take a closer look at the core components of an adaptive card. One key element is the action, Submit button. When users click this, their responses are sent back to Power Automate flows, which helps automate processes and keep everything streamlined. It's important to carefully plan your property names to match what your flow expects, ensuring smooth communication between the card and your automation. Next, we have inputs, which include drop-downs or comment boxes. These are great because they give users the ability to make selections or add notes directly within the card. It makes the interaction more dynamic and personalized. Then there are text blocks. These are used to display labels and descriptions, such as showing a task due date like task due Friday. They help provide context and clarity, making the information easy to understand at a glance. Overall, these components work together to create interactive, informative, and efficient notifications within Microsoft Teams, enhancing productivity across your workflows. Now, let's talk about how mapping adaptive card fields to Microsoft lists can significantly enhance usability. By doing this, we essentially create a bridge between static, fixed cards and the more dynamic, flexible functionalities that lists offer. This alignment is crucial because it ensures data integrity, meaning the information remains accurate and consistent across both platforms, and it allows for seamless automation of processes. Think of it this way. When you map a card, you're turning it into a mini-app, something that's more than just a static display. It becomes interactive and functional, helping users perform tasks more efficiently. To make this work effectively, each element on the card should map directly to a specific column in Microsoft lists. For example, the task name on the card should correspond to the task title in your list, due date to the deadline, and approval status to the options available for approval buttons. This direct mapping ensures that data flows smoothly between your cards and lists, reducing errors and making automation much more straightforward. Overall, this approach is about creating a cohesive, efficient system where information is always accurate, accessible, and ready for action. Wiring adaptive cards with Power Automate allows us to create more interactive and dynamic notifications within Microsoft Teams. Adaptive cards can be posted directly into chats or channels, making them not just informational, but also actionable. This means users can respond or make decisions right within the card itself, streamlining workflows. The integration part is key here. The adaptive card designer helps us generate a JSON payload, which includes list tokens. These tokens are crucial because they enable the creation of personalized and context-aware cards, enhancing user engagement. On the automation side, Power Automate kicks in when specific triggers happen, like when a new item is created or a deadline is approaching. These triggers ensure that the right adaptive card gets delivered at the right moment, keeping everyone informed and aligned without manual intervention. Overall, this setup transforms how we notify and interact within Teams, making our communications smarter and more responsive. Choosing smart triggers is crucial to avoid notification spam and keep users engaged without overwhelming them. When notifications are thoughtful and well-timed, they help users stay productive and informed. However, overusing alerts can backfire, eroding trust and making notifications less effective. That's why building user trust is so important. We should avoid triggers for every little change, like minor edits or typos, because these can lead to muted notifications and a sense of annoyance or mistrust. Instead, focus on triggers that reflect meaningful action points. For example, notify users when an item is created or when a due date is approaching. These are clear signals that something needs attention without overwhelming the user. So, the key is to choose trigger points that are truly relevant and actionable, ensuring notifications enhance productivity rather than hinder it. Now, let's talk about testing and piloting your adaptive card flow. Proper testing is essential because it helps us avoid flooding users with broken or duplicate notifications. If notifications aren't working correctly, it can cause frustration and reduce trust in the system. So, this step is crucial to ensure smooth adoption across the organization. One key aspect is implementing deduplication or guard checks. These checks help prevent users from receiving the same card multiple times, which can be overwhelming and counterproductive. It's about making sure notifications are relevant and not redundant. Another important point is confirming that the Teams connector has the right authentication and posting permissions. Without proper rights, notifications might not be delivered at all, or worse, they could be sent insecurely. Ensuring these rights are in place guarantees that notifications reach users securely and accurately. And before rolling out organization-wide, it's always best to test your flows thoroughly with a pilot group. This allows you to catch any issues early, make adjustments, and ensure everything works smoothly in a real-world setting. In summary, thorough testing, guard checks, proper authentication, and pilot testing are all vital steps to make sure your adaptive card notifications are effective, secure, and well-received. Now, let's talk about making sure that our notifications in Microsoft Teams are truly effective. The key here is clarity and actionability. Cards should be understandable and prompt immediate responses within just 3 seconds. When they do that, we see real engagement, and users are more likely to act right away. Next, we want to enable users to complete tasks directly within the Teams message itself. This reduces any friction. No more switching between apps or steps. That way, the process is smoother and more efficient. We also need to simplify actions by clearly outlining what the next steps are and emphasizing why acting now is important. This helps motivate users to prioritize their tasks without confusion. Finally, effective communication of urgency is critical. Showing details like due dates, owners, and task status at a glance ensures everyone understands their responsibilities immediately. By focusing on these points, clear, actionable cards, streamlined task completion, clear next steps, and urgent communication, we can truly drive user adoption and make Teams notifications a powerful tool for productivity. Now, let's wrap up with some best practices to really ensure your success. First, it's crucial to pilot thoroughly before moving to full deployment. This means testing your workflows extensively to catch any issues early on. By doing this, you make sure that the workflows are not only productive, but also widely adopted by your users. Next, when designing your Power Automate flows, aim to wire smart flows with the right triggers. This automation allows processes to run seamlessly and tailored to your specific needs, making everything more efficient. Another key point is designing minimal and focused adaptive cards. Keep only the essential information and actions, which helps reduce clutter and keeps users engaged with actionable content. Finally, transforming your notifications into workflow tools involves structuring your Microsoft lists properly. Use clean, consistent columns to ensure data is clear and uniform, which ultimately makes your workflows more efficient and easier to manage. Together, these practices help create a more streamlined, effective notification system that boosts productivity and user satisfaction. And that brings us to the final slide, where I want to share some additional resources to help you continue improving your Microsoft Teams experience. First, I highly recommend tuning into the Spotify episode we've linked. It's a great way to get practical tips on fixing and optimizing your team's notifications for better productivity. Listening to expert insights can really make a difference in how you manage your alerts. If you're more into podcasts, you can also check out the episode on Apple Podcasts. It offers in-depth insights and real-world examples that can help you understand how to fine-tune your notifications and avoid missing important messages while reducing distractions. For those who want a deeper dive, there's a full article available online. It provides a detailed walkthrough, step-by-step guidance, and additional tips to enhance your Microsoft 365 workflows. Exploring these resources will give you a well-rounded understanding and practical strategies to implement right away. Remember, the goal is to make your notifications work for you, not against you, so I encourage you to explore these resources and keep learning. Thanks for your attention, and I hope you find these tools helpful in transforming your team's experience.